silent and you're lying. Why?
It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. On this special episode, we welcome country singer and songwriter Tony Evans Jr.
In the darkest, and your fragile heart is about to break. Keep my name by your phone when you're crying all
This native of Atlanta, who is now based in Nashville, has become a rising star in the country music genre.
Maybe now you think
A self-taught guitar player, Tony commands with powerful narratives and intricate guitar picking. This is his first single, Need Somebody, which was released earlier this month.
everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs
It went viral across TikTok and Instagram. As a result, he saw his audience double in a matter of days. He is set to release his debut extended play, Starless, early next month. We now welcome Tony to this live edition of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
Girl, I'm just one call away. So keep my name by your phone when you're crying all alone. 'Cause I know you're gonna need somebody. Maybe now.
It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome into this special live stream edition of Listen In with KNN Sports Talk Radio Show and Podcast with me, your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. We are live on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. I am so excited for today's show. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope your hump day is great. But if it's not, it's going to get better now. Why? Because we are going to be bringing country music to the show. I'm excited to be welcoming my very first country music artist and a girl with New Orleans roots. I grew up with music, folks, in the household. Music makes my soul go. And so I know today is going to be a fun show. We're going to learn a lot more about country music, probably some of your favorite songs. So bring your questions, bring your thoughts, bring your comments, because I'm about to welcome country singer and songwriter Tony Evans Jr. to the show. He is one of country music's most popular independent artists. He's won praise from a lot of folks. So if you don't know the name, you're going to know it now. Let's bring Tony to the show. Tony, so excited to welcome you on. How are you, Tony? So great to see you. So great to meet you. How is everything?
Everything's great. Everything's great. It's nice to meet you too.
Love hearing that. So first off, I like to do a wellness check with my guests. How's your day been? I know you're joining us from your studio, right? Live in Nashville?
Yeah. I'm joining from the studio right now. My day's been long and I still got a lot more to do today, but I love it though. So it's been a good day.
Well, we appreciate you making time, of course, for us little folks on the show. We're in the middle of a studio, folks. You guys are getting an inside glimpse into Tony's life. Tony, I want to start from the beginning now. You're a country music artist. You're 24 years old. And I love this. So I know it says Atlanta native, but I did my research on you. I want to make sure we give shout out from where you're from exactly. Musician from Country Roads, Georgia, right? 30281, which is about half an hour outside of Atlanta. So tell us from the beginning, what first got you into country music?
Man, I'm from the South, so there's country music everywhere, obviously. But a lot of it was my family. My family was huge on country music, and they kind of put it on me. Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. When I first started playing guitar and singing and writing songs, I must have been 12 or 13, something like that.
Wow.
And I was playing some songs in the kitchen for probably like 25 family members, and when I finished, they were like, "You're a country singer."
Wow.
And and I said, "No, I'm not. You know, I don't want to be a country singer." But my auntie was like, "Give it 10 years, and we're gonna have this conversation again, and we're gonna see." And she was right, you know. So
I love that. And first off, you were intimidated playing in front of like 25 family members when you were like 12 or 13 years old.
I was so nervous back then. Like performing was so scary back then for me.
Yeah.
But you know, it taught me a lot.
Yeah, and you talk about, they said you're going to be a country singer. You're in, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. Atlanta, most people know for what? R&B music, the hip hop stars, right?
For sure.
So when you first heard the country music thing, you didn't think that was too different for you. You didn't think it was going to be far-fetched for you to be able to get into it?
Of course I did. That's why I said no. I didn't want to do it because in Atlanta, like you said, it's hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
And that's what I grew up in. So back when I was still, I was a kid, I was trying to fit in and all of that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do it because I wanted to be cool. But as I got older, I realized that it's not really about that. It's just about doing what's true to me. So it just came natural.
Doing what's true to you. And I think that's what life is, right? Finding your purpose, what makes you happy, not just what makes others happy. And obviously you found that with country music. Then you talked about playing that guitar in front of the family members. Self-taught guitar player. Tony, how does that happen? It's not that easy. Like I tried to play music instruments. It didn't go too well. That's why I talk for a living.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it sucked, man. It sucked at the beginning, but I was very, very dedicated as a kid. When you're a kid, you don't have responsibility. So all of my free time, I was just on the strings, figuring it out. And eventually I got pretty good at it.
Yeah, well, you said pretty good at it. I mean, look at you now. You got very, well at it. I love all the articles that talk about you being the next star country music, the next big up and comer. I mean, it has to make you, feel good. I know going back, it sounds like some of your greatest musical influences. We have folks like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, anybody else that, just kind of influence your music today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I have a ton of musical influences, but I would say the big ones for me are George Strait, Glenn Campbell, and then we have Teddy Pendergrass. I can never leave out Teddy Pendergrass, Nat King Cole, Earth, Wind & Fire. I have a ton of musical influences.
Yeah. I mean, and you're naming people that you're talking about real music, Tony. You're taking us back with that, and I think that's so important. And I think, when we talk about music, music is music. Yes, there's different genres, but when you're moved by something, like I saw you dancing backstage, you're moved, right? By
you saw me dance?
I saw you dancing.
I was grooving. Look, I know that song. That's funny,
and I think that's really great, and our fans are already getting into it. And yes, shout out to my new producer Michael. Let's bring the question up for Tony. People are already interested in you and your background, and this is before we even got to your music part, but they already want to know this from Jamel Cutler. When can we expect a collab with Kane Brown and Jimmy Allen?
Hey man, I have no clue. Both of those guys are real cool. I've met them and everything, and they're real cool guys. I don't know, man. We'll see. Who knows?
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell.
And you said you're joining us from our studio. Does this mean you're working on new music right now, Tony?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, even newer music. I got some new music coming out real soon, but I'm looking down the road. We're working.
Yeah. Preparing for the future. Let's get into some of that new music that we can be prepared to release. I know you're set to debut your EP, Starless, which I love that name. You're going to do this independently. It looks like March 10th is that calendar date that we need to be looking out for. So preview that for us. What can we expect? What are we going to get from Tony Evans Jr. with this?
And you're gonna get some vibes. You're gonna get love songs. You're gonna get heartbreak. You're gonna get
Yeah.
that gray area in between. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like it's a really good first step for you guys to hear what I'm really about. You know, where things are really going for me.
Yeah.
Starless is gonna give you a sneak peek of that.
I like that because what I'm hearing for you is you're going to talk about. It seems like you're being transparent with this, right? We're going to have that transparency from you,
Oh
and so
yeah,
who you really are, and I want to dig into that more because as an artist, I think you have to be vulnerable, right? Like you're letting people know, as you said, heartbreak and maybe betrayal, like those aren't easy things all the time to express. But when you're doing that
yeah.
through your music, you're literally sharing your emotions, with the
hmm
world. How do you get comfortable even doing such a thing?
It's funny because I'm not.
Yeah.
So when I write songs, like I never write songs from personal experience. I
Mm,
just think about the emotion. Like, okay, I'm
yeah.
sitting on this couch with this guitar, playing this chord. What am I feeling from it?
Mm,
Lonely, loneliness. How does that feel? What's another way to say that? And then the song comes out and it becomes a thing. And as the song grows on me and I start to learn the song better, when it's finished, I realize why I wrote it later.
mm,
I start relating to it as it ages,
yeah.
but it's never really like, oh, I'm gonna sing about this girl or I'm gonna sing about this thing that happened. That's not really my writing process, as of
Yeah.
now at least.
I feel like that makes people probably in your life feel good. They know they never have to be the subject
Nah, yeah, nah, I won't do
of
that for
one of
you.
Tony Evans Jr.'s songs. But to that point, still, you're 24 years old. You're writing about experiences that other folks go through, right? And you've been on this
hmm
earth 24 years. So, it has to be probably sometimes hard to pull, like, when you think about something like love, some people would say most folks might not know true love maybe, until they're older, right? Kind of those couples
Yeah.
that have been together maybe 50, 60 years, they've been through the trials and tribulations. So, where do you look for that inspiration then? Is this everyday life when you're walking around Nashville? Is this stuff you maybe see on TV? I'm just want to dig into that more about where you're pulling that inspiration from.
Well, I mean, I haven't really experienced true love yet, so a lot of it is what I think it is, what I think it may be,
Right.
and then like a song uh, that I already have out called "We've Never Danced." You can kind of hear that, and then I'll say a lot of it also is the things I've heard, you
Mm,
know, um, the songs I've heard, like all those old standard songs.
yeah.
L is for the way you look at me. O is
Yeah.
for the only one I see. Those type things inspire me a whole lot, and I think it's just ingrained in me, so I don't really have to think about it a lot. It's like this is what love is supposed to be,
Yeah.
but then it's like, okay, for me, it's like we all know what love is supposed to be, but is that actually what it is? So that's the
Right.
gray area I was talking about earlier.
Right.
I'm trying to get into that too a little bit, you know.
Yeah. And I
So
think that's what, I think that's what being a singer-songwriter does. It gets you to probably go into
mhm,
places maybe you never thought, you would dig into. But, because there
for
are
sure.
so many songs out, right? And you're trying to make yourself different and stand out. I think that's what you're doing. And I think that's what you've done as an artist. Because speaking of that, let's go back to that first single that you had, Need
hmm
Somebody, released February 3rd. Folks, if you're on social media, it went viral on TikTok and Instagram. Oh, and by the way, Tony saw his audience double in a matter of days after that. First, let's talk about, when you see such a good reaction to something that you release, how does that make you feel, especially as an independent artist?
I mean, it's something that you hope for.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not something that you can count on. It's just like you just have to work, and somehow a star falls out the sky, and
Yeah.
you get a situation like I had. But it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good.
Yeah. When there's such a good, because social media is everything now, right? I mean, everybody now, people measure, and it's probably not for the best, but everybody measures,
Yeah,
from the likes and, from the shares, the retweets, and, TikTok, of course,
yeah.
that's the next big thing now, right? It's like you kind of have to be on there if you're doing something. It's part of
Yeah.
branding to
I
get
have
that
a
reaction.
love-hate relationship with social media, man. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
really the social media guy, but at the same time, it's where I can connect to my fans and the
Right.
people who support me and where I can interact. And so that's
Yeah.
just a value that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. And when as we talk about your fans, we're talking about growing up outside of Atlanta and you see your fan
Mhm.
base now, what makes it so special? What makes you smile when you look at that fan base out there that's rooting for you every single day?
Man, it's so very diverse.
Yeah.
That's what I value most about my fans. It's people who've never listened to country before. I have a
Yeah.
ton of beautiful black women who support me, which
Yeah.
I always hoped for. I didn't know how I was gonna make that happen,
Yeah.
looking at the genre that I'm singing, but somehow I'm pulling it off. So hopefully I can keep that going.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love my fans, man.
I
Yeah,
can
I love them.
tell. That's heartfelt. And, as we talk about the diversity of country music, let's get into that
Mhm.
conversation, because country music, let's just be honest, it has that perception of what people think a country fan is, of what the
Yeah.
singers look like, in country music. But as you said, you have a fan base that's diverse. Maybe you're bringing people to country music maybe for the first time, right? That they've really been
Mhm.
able, to embrace someone that looks like you in country music. There's guys like Darius Rucker, of course. You can go back, Charlie Pride. But,
Mhm.
for you now to be in that conversation as a Black man singing country music and now living in the heart of country music in Nashville, what's that feel
Yeah.
like for you?
Um, I don't really think about it much, honestly, because
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as a black country artist. I'm a country artist who's black.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I do um have an obligation to stay true to who I am.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I grew up in Atlanta, so that's a
Right.
part of me. And I'm gonna keep that. You know, I grew up on the east side. Skating at Golden Glide.
Yeah.
So and I think that brings a door into the genre because for me, country music it's not about the lifestyle, you
Mm.
know. Even though I'm a country guy, like I fish and I'm outdoors all the time. I do all of that, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sing about something that's not inspirational to me musically. So you won't really hear me singing about lifted trucks and things like that, even though I love them. I
Yeah.
sing I sing more about things that we can all relate to. I sing about love and I sing about relationships and things you feel on the inside, like, and I feel that doesn't have a genre,
Mm.
it doesn't have a genre, so
Right.
it'll be a lot easier for people to relate to it no matter where they grew up.
Right. No matter where they grew up. But I love that, you
Mhm.
also don't forget where you come from. And, you mentioned, that Atlanta influence that's going to always be
Oh yeah,
inside of you, and I guess it felt like you then are basically want to always pay homage, right, to
oh for
Atlanta,
sure, for
through
sure.
your
I
music.
have to, I have to.
So what's that look like, Tony? Is it maybe how you dress sometimes? Like, what does that look like on an everyday, paying tribute to Atlanta?
Look, man. I mean, it's everything. It's everything. It's you'll catch me in some white forces, some Air Force Ones, you
Yeah.
know. But it's just who I am. Like it's not even. It's just who I am. It's a part of me. It's the way I talk. It's the way I think. It's just a big part of me that I'm
Yeah.
bringing with me to this genre. So
I love that. And Craig, I love your question. Tony kind of touched on it, some of his musical influences. It was a little bit of everyone. He had country musical influences. We talked about Teddy Pendergrass.
oh
We
yeah,
went back, right? Nat King
yeah,
Cole. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
great people that touched on it. Jamel wants to test some of your, I think, some of your Atlanta-ness.
Come on, man. Come on.
Which
Come
one are
on,
we going
man.
with?
Look, legends, obviously, but I
Yeah,
gotta go with Outkast, man. Gotta go with Outkast. I
I feel
listened
like
to more Outkast growing
there.
up. Yeah. I was in the skating rink, so Outkast was on repeat.
Oh, for sure. Anybody who's been in
So
skating rinks, they know. The real
yeah,
ones
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
what that
No, for sure.
experience, is like. Ooh, I don't want to put this into, but how cool would it be if you ever had a chance to collab with them? I'm
I
speaking,
don't
I'm
care
manifesting.
what I don't care what it sounds like. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work, but Dre would figure something out. You know.
And make it happen, And to that
Yeah.
point, I mean, I think that's what's so great. I think about the future, you just don't know, as we go back to country music and just its relation
Mhm.
to folks in general, but especially to Black folks, I think about
Yeah.
the song by Blanco Brown. What was it? The Get Up, right? And I just
Mhm.
remember when that song came out, everyone doing this dance together.
Mhm.
I grew up, I knew how to line dance and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like that kind of brought maybe more mainstream folks to just realizing that country does look different. There's
Mhm.
not one look to it. I think you're another example of this. Like you come on the show, you got the A's hat, you got the jacket. Like I think you're showing, it's not all just cowboy hats and boots, right? Like some would probably
Yeah.
assume, right? When they
Yeah,
think about
yeah,
country music.
yeah, for sure. There's For me, it's just about the music. There is a lifestyle that's associated with it, but for me, country music is a sound and it's an expression, and that doesn't have a color attached to it.
I love that. It's something that doesn't have a color attached to it. I think that's so powerful and so important. I do want to go back. One more question I'll bring from Jamel because he wants to make sure you're a true ATLian. He said, Onyx or Magic City?
Look, it's crazy. I've never been to the strip clubs.
Ever in Atlanta.
I've been I've been working on music for the past, I don't know how long. I haven't
You've been too busy for the fun.
Yeah, I haven't explored that part of Atlanta. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on that.
We are staying neutral. Like there is nothing wrong with that. But as we continue to just talk about country music and the future of country music, I love what you said. I think one day, hopefully, artists can be just known as artists that make music, that people like. And it seems like you want to get to that point. But as you strive to get to that point, what is the goal for you? What's the height that you want to reach? As we look at your influence in this genre.
I want to go as far as possible. I want to go as high as possible with this.
Yeah.
Because it's what I love, and I'm just a little FYI about me. I'm a hyper competitive person.
Yeah.
So when I do something, I want to be the best at it. So that's my goal with country music. I want to do it all over the world. I want to go to every different country. I want to go to Mars and do a show.
Yeah.
So I see myself doing.
Yeah. What's been the best experience thus far of the journey for you, Tony?
I think I'm starting to see myself in the newspapers and the articles and stuff. That's pretty cool.
It gets real, right? When you can see yourself in the Google search.
Yeah. You know what? I take that back. It wasn't actually the article. It was when my grandparents saw it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I still got my great grandparents. And this is my other great grandma right here. So I love my grandparents, man. And when they saw it, and I saw how proud they were of me, I'm like, I got to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's the motivation.
Yeah,
especially your great grandparents. I can only imagine, what they've been through in this country. And, now to see their great grandson achieving his dreams, something that wasn't possible for folks at one time that looked like me and you. That has to be inspirational.
For sure. Definitely.
I love that. And, making your family proud, it does seem like something that's super important to you. So, when you release the music, are they the first people that you go to, like, to check, is this good? How do you guys like it? Is that kind of...
Yeah, I actually did like a private show in my grandma's backyard. It was probably about 60 of my family members.
Nice.
And they heard all the music first. So definitely love to keep my family up to date on my stuff.
And they give you the feedback that's needed.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're obviously a little bit biased, but I still appreciate it.
I think that's so cool. Talk about feedback. You got some feedback from somebody pretty cool recently. I saw your cover of Luke Combs' 2017 hit, One Number Away. Getting that shout out. What did that feel like? What was that moment like for you?
That was pretty cool, man. That's the big guy,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was cool. I mean, when you're an artist, especially when you're doing music, it's kind of a shot in the dark. It's kind of silly that I even thought I could make it doing this, thinking about the statistics. So when you actually see somebody saying like, you got something, or you're doing good, or wow, this is great, or whatever, it's like, man, maybe I can make it.
I love that.
So that was
you
cool.
talk about the statistics. Let's dig into that. What are the statistics like, for making it? I think statistics are hard. A lot of times you look at the numbers. I talk to kids all the time, whether they want to be a singer or a basketball player, professional basketball player. It's hard. So it's easy to count yourself out, right? Because you're probably sometimes like, that number is too small. There's no way I'm going to be in that. So, how do you find yourself in that statistic to keep going?
You have to have a foolish, unrealistic confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And You got to be a little bit crazy. I always say artists are a little bit crazy because it's
Just a
like,
little bit.
why would we even think that we could live a life like that?
Yeah.
Why do we think we could be the one to make it? And for me, the only way I justify it is how much time I put into it.
Mm,
So I work hard.
yeah.
You know, I pay my dues, and I paid my dues to get to where I am, and that's the only thing that justifies me believing in myself is what I do to get there.
Yeah. And you talk about what you did to get there. So you go from Atlanta to Nashville. What's the change been like for you? Living in Nashville now, surrounded by really, like I said, it seems like country music capital of the world. And oh, by the way, when I last
Yeah,
there, didn't know all the bridal parties that also happen to go through Nashville, which are also fun. But what's that change been like for you?
I'll give you a story about that. So I've run a lot. I run a lot outside, and
Yeah.
it's hot in the summertime. I run with my shirt off.
Hmm.
I parked my car downtown, didn't know where I was, and I'm running with my shirt off, and I end up near Broadway, which
Okay.
is the street where all the, like you said, the bachelorette parties and the pedal taverns and all that stuff
All of
is
it.
on, and they're just screaming at me. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about this town. I got to get out of here. But Nashville. That being said, Nashville is very, very different from Atlanta.
Hmm.
It's definitely been a an adjustment for me, to say the
Yeah.
least. But you know, it is where I need to be. It's where the music is. It is an incubator for art. Um, and yeah, I love Nashville.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
tell. Is the food so good in Nashville like it is in Atlanta?
Food is crazy here. It's really good. I had no clue until I got here. There's so many options for food, like all types of different cultures and everything. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
I love that. And again, it's not easy sometimes, going from one place. Again, Nashville and Atlanta, different, probably in
Hmm.
the music sense, though the music culture is still there, but, always having to adjust. But as we talked about before, also wanting to keep a part of yourself, there as well. But also touching on that, how has Nashville maybe somewhat influenced some of your musical interests and tastes as you make music and write music and songs?
Um, it hasn't.
Okay. So it's just been
It
Atlanta.
hasn't. I make sure it doesn't,
Yeah.
because Nashville, and it's not a bad thing, but it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Nashville has a sound,
Mm,
and when I first got here, I found myself looking for that sound and trying to create that. But then I realized, wait a minute, if I do that, I might lose what makes me special.
yeah.
So I try my hardest to stay in Atlanta up here. You
Yeah.
know,
All the time.
that's what makes me different, I feel. So
Staying new and true to you. Well, Tony, before I let you go, for any new people that might just be finding out about Tony Evans Jr., and you talk about what makes you different, finish my sentence for me. Tony Evans Jr. is blank.
um I want to make a joke, but I won't. Tony Evans Jr. is intimate, I
Okay.
think. Intimate
Yeah.
is my word. When you listen to my music, I want you to feel like we're having a conversation like we are now.
Right.
So I
Right.
think I'd say intimate.
And I think that's huge, and for folks out there that are listening to us live, and this is the first time me and Tony are having a chance to meet. You guys are seeing everything raw, real. This is it. This is as real as it gets, And this is why I enjoy this, Tony, because it's just a real conversation that I get to have with folks to really give them insight, into
Yeah.
who you are. All right. Before I let you go, Tony, just any last words for the listening audience, and make sure you let people know where they can follow and find your music, because we got March 10th on our calendars now.
Yeah, yeah. March 10th, Starless is coming out. You guys can follow me on social media at Tony Evans Jr. That's where I post everything, and yeah, yeah. I'll say just stay on the lookout for me. I'm doing a lot here soon. So
Stay on the lookout. If you're in Nashville, you might see Tony run by or something. Say hi, be friendly. And
yeah,
make sure
probably.
and make sure you all continue to listen to the music in the intro. You guys heard some of his music. We'll also make sure we play it in the outro and post links to his music as well. But we support what you're doing. I think independent artists deserve more recognition and shine. It's not easy in the music industry. I get it, but truly proud of all that you are doing and accomplishing.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Tony. Have a great one. Great to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. All right.
All right, y'all. You guys just heard from Tony Evans Jr., singer, songwriter, country music. Please be sure to check him out. You guys know this is what we love doing on the show, bringing you guys a taste of sports, entertainment, and culture. That's what this show is all about. We're going to have a brand new audio show dropping as well later this week. We'll be back next week live with another very special guest on this live stream show. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for bringing your comments, your energy, your thoughts. A special shout out to my team and a very special shout out to my producer, Michael, who we just had our first chance to work on our first live show together, but truly appreciate y'all. And we're going to give you guys some more Tony as we sign out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, guys.
Baby, now you think you don't.
Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM, Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.
Everybody needs somebody.
Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio now offers official Kelsey Nicole Nelson apparel in a variety of styles for men and women. Fashionable shirts, leggings, hats, jackets, and more. Order now and get 15% off and free shipping. Just enter promo code KNN. Get your Listen In with KNN wearables today. And check out Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio with Kelsey Nicole Nelson.